All right, the public safety meeting will come to order. Recorder, please start the roll call.
Counselor Barrientos,
Here.
Counselor Schilling,
Here.
Counselor Shane,
Here.
Counselors Briggs and Collins are excused.
Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed. I move that the minutes be approved.
No, you can ask for a motion, yeah.
Ask for a motion.
Okay, I ask for a motion for the previous minutes to be approved.
So move. Second.
Okay. And the minutes have been approved?
So you have to ask for a
No,
vote.
we haven't voted yet.
Oh, okay. All right,
It's
With three
Carlos,
people,
it's Carlos's first time as a chair.
My
He's
first
doing, he's
time.
doing a great job.
yeah,
And we're just hoping.
okay.
You learn by doing. Yep.
All right, all in favor respond by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
Okay, yes, have it, and the minutes have been approved.
Perfect.
Okay, next up on the agenda is the city manager update.
All right, thank you, Councilor Barrientos. So there's one thing I wanted to talk about, and that is that we have a council that's called the Local Public Safety Coordinating Council. It's organized in statute, and it's organized by the Polk County Board of Commissioners. It includes a variety of individuals that are engaged in kind of our local public safety criminal justice system. It's ORS 423.560, which establishes kind of who's on the committee, what the committee does, the sort of scope of work in that. I serve on that committee. I am the city non-elected representative for the cities within Polk County. And then the police chiefs of all of Monmouth, Independence, and Dallas serve on that council. It includes the district attorney. It includes one of the Board of County Commissioners. It includes the district attorney. It includes parole and probation. It includes a lot of youth services, the court system. So there's a lot of individuals that participate in this coordinating council.
How big is the group? Sounds like a couple of dozen people.
There's probably close to 15, I think, Chief Simpson. I brought the ORS here so I can go through the whole list, but
That's not important. I just
there's
wanted to get a
probably
ballpark.
between 12 and 18 people on there at any one time. And so they hold quarterly meetings and they talk about various local public safety issues and things specifically related to the persons that are in the criminal justice system and support services for them once they kind of get out of the system, right? Or out of get out of jail or something like that. And so they're particularly charged with making sure there's services around individuals that are younger, so between the ages of 15 and 18, making sure that there are employment services, state services, local services that can support and kind of get them on a path of better behavior. And so I just wanted to kind of bring that to your attention that this exists so that you know of it. But also there is a position on that that's been vacant for a while, and that is to have a local elected official serve on that coordinating council. So they meet quarterly. Sometimes there'll be an intervening meeting where they'll meet more than once per quarter. And it includes probably about an hour long meeting. It's during the noon hour. I think they're normally on a Monday. Is that right, Chief Simpson? Yeah, so normally on a Monday at noon when they happen. Our last one was in February. Our next one I think is gonna be in May. And so I want to just bring that to your attention to know if there's any interest from the Public Safety Committee members on that. I've also reached out to the city managers of Monmouth and Independence to ask if any of their elected officials are interested. So if you are interested or you want to learn more, certainly reach out to me. I can talk a little bit more in detail about that opportunity. And then if you want to throw your name in the hat, certainly let me know. If we receive more than one person interested, either from Dallas or Monmouth Independence, we'll come up with some sort of mechanism to select the individual that would represent the local governments from an elected role. So any questions on that?
So, how about the mayor? Is he not interested in serving?
It could be the mayor as well. Could be a mayor. It's just any elected official from the cities within Polk County. So I can talk with Mayor Woods and see if he has interest in serving in that capacity as well.
Well, I just think since he represents the whole town as a unit.
Yep.
Symbolically at least.
Right. So the last member of a council to serve on that was Kim Herring. Kim Fitzgerald. I'm looking at Kim Herring out of my eye. Kim Fitzgerald served on that. She agreed to serve on it, but her schedule just didn't permit her ability to be at the meetings. And so we just, we as a council and with her permission decided to no longer have her serve in that role. And so it's back open as a vacancy and we're trying to fill that.
Well, if the mayor isn't interested, I'll certainly put my name in the hat.
Okay. Good. Well, if either of you are interested, I'll also reach out to Councilors Briggs and Collins and the rest of the council. I'll put it in the kind of weekly email this week. So, but if you're interested, certainly let me know. It's a good opportunity. And that's my only report.
All right, great. So next up is a fire department update.
And as Chief Wallace, as you come up, the microphone needs to be turned on. So if you can make sure to do that one.
Is that on?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm Maple Wallace, Fire Chief. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on our staffing levels. Yes. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, is that better? Okay. Sometimes I talk loud and sometimes I talk quiet. So I just wanted to give you a current update on what our department makeup looks like at this point. We've transitioned to, I would say, a true combination department. Currently, we have 16 paid staff, 20 flexible schedule employees. Those are our part-time employees. On our volunteer side, we have 11 volunteers for suppression. We did have 12. One of them recently resigned just due to just time commitment and just not being able to make as many calls as he was, a personal reason. 8 support and 5 chaplains. We did add a new chaplain within the last month. He's been a wonderful addition. I don't know if you know what our chaplains do. They provide a pretty unique service, not just internally, but also externally to EMS calls, death notifications, that kind of thing.
Is Ken Brown the head of that group?
Ken Braun, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Last year, well, let me back up here. We have 4 probationary candidates that at our March business meeting will receive their firefighter 1 along with their badge. They will be fully able to respond. So that will add 4 more additional to our suppression group. And then we currently have 3 recruit candidates, which will be starting an academy in March. That academy will run March through the first part of June. Overall, it'll be 120 hours of actual recorded time, and then the time that they want to put in additionally for additional training. It does not cover their drill night attendance, so that's additional time that they'll put towards that. So we're pretty thankful to have these applicants. Last year for our call volume, we ended the year with 5,700 calls for service. Of those, a little over 1,000 were actually fire related, not having to do anything with EMS. 906 of those were hospital transfers, with the bulk of those transfers being handled by our transfer car. That is our ambulance that we staff with our flexible schedule employees. We partner with West Valley Hospital. We provide the EMT and the vehicle, and they provide the paramedic, which is somebody off of their staff that also works as an ER tech too. We've recently changed the hours of this position. Working with the hospital, it seemed like it was better to have a 12-hour shift from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. The bulk of our transfers do come in, seems like after 5 o'clock, and will go until late evening, early morning. We've worked out an agreement with them where if we do end up with interfacility transfers in the middle of the night, to have a conversation between the captains, and they now have what's called a house supervisor. So it's a supervisor that manages the floor of the ER. So this person's able to coordinate the patients and the facility transfers, and if they need to be discharged, they go POV, that type of thing. So now we have better communication with the hospital, where it's actually one of their staff members communicating with one of our staff members, which has been a lot more efficient, as opposed to before. It was whoever was calling for the transport would talk to our duty officer, which could be myself, or it would have been Chief Brumfield,
A
or
lot of phone calls.
on a phone call, or a volunteer officer. Now they're actually connecting with our captains, or with myself or Chief Rogers, depending on who's on call. So that has been a really good part to our relationship, just strengthening that for us. So far this year, before I came over here, we had 917 calls that we've handled so far this year. So we're probably looking at reaching every bit of that 5,000 call mark, if not more. We have a new executive assistant. I introduced her at City Council last month. She is incredible. She has made a lot of changes within our organization, just small ones, but it has proven to be very efficient. Some things that we just didn't even think about. But she intermixes very well with the staff, very eager to learn new things. So if you ever get a chance to come by and meet her, she's great. Our new fire truck should be making its way to South Dakota for the start of the build. We should start seeing photos at any time. Mid-April, we should get a phone call from the company for us to be able to start planning a trip out to go view the engine. And at that time, we'll make a decision on how we want to have the engine come back. It'll either be by freight or we'll drive it back. We're not there yet. They do pay for us to go back, so that is an expense that we don't have to take. They pay for us to do that. I met with leaders from Dallas High School 2 weeks ago to talk about bringing an EMR class to their CTE program. We're going to be taking one of their current teachers, bringing her into our organization and putting her through the EMR class so she can also help lead with the instruction. We're looking at doing that in the fall. This is in cooperation with a grant that the high school received as well. We will provide staff for their training. We just have never been able to do that before. So this is very exciting for us to be able to get into the high school. It's not going to put us into a high school program. We just don't have the ability to undertake something like that. But what it will do is we have students that will become EMR certified, and we're hoping that we'll use this as a recruitment tool for volunteers too. So they get their EMR, and then we'll start them through a recruit academy where they'll be able to get their firefighter one. So that's also brand new for us. Just to give you an update, I currently have meetings with Chief Stangy from Polk One. We meet sometimes twice a month. Just because I'm a new fire chief, I think it's important to be able to connect with fire chiefs in my area. I've also been meeting with Chief Hurdle when he's available. I don't know how much you guys are aware of our new ASA area, which is our ambulance service area. We now share a portion of our ASA is now Southwest Polk's ASA. So the area north of Highway 22 and the area east from Bowersville to Rickreall is now Southwest Polk ASA number 2. It's been a learning process for everybody involved. This is brand new. Not very often that I know of, and I've done a little bit of research that a brand new ASA just doesn't develop. So it's been good for everybody involved, I think, as far as the learning experience, and things seem to be going as good as can be expected. Our biggest hurdle actually right now is through dispatch. making sure that dispatch has the correct boundary lines. Deputy Chief Rogers has been very good about meeting with them weekly, along with their GIS and their supervisors, along with Southwest Polk's leadership, and making sure that we're getting those boundary lines correct.
Has this impacted your ability to schedule resources, or is it too early to ask that question?
Can you maybe clarify?
Well,
that a
because
little bit?
because the boundary lines, the service area has changed. Do you find you have resources that are better able to cover the new territory, not as well able, about the same?
I guess honestly, I think it would be about the same. Because we still respond to their response area if they're unavailable. They still respond to our response area if we're unavailable. So just that mutual aid partnership. We really haven't noticed, but it's also brand new, right? This just started January 1st.
Yeah, that's why I
So,
qualified the question.
Yeah, we just have not been able to like qualify the data for that. That will probably be something that will come later on down the road in a couple of months. As soon as we need to make sure that dispatch is up to speed on those boundary lines. Our captains and their leadership, Southwest Polk's leadership, has been very good about monitoring the radio traffic and the calls that come in. So if there is a call that comes in and it is Southwest Polk's ASA, they're pretty quick to take that and make that correction. But our staff has been really good too about supporting that for them as well.
Yeah, I understand. You need to get the machine working smoothly
Yeah.
before you can judge how
Yep,
well it's working.
it's brand new.
Yeah.
So with everything, we just have to be patient and go through the process.
How's the mutual aid fairly balanced right now?
Hmm?
Is the mutual aid response fairly balanced? I know.
I don't know if I can answer that. I would really need to look at, what our call volume looks like as a whole. So, I do want to let you know that we had applied for a grant through FEMA for fire prevention and safety, and we were not selected for that grant. So we're looking at other resources. This was the grant for the smoke alarms. We'll probably look at partnering with the Red Cross and then Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office, because they both provide smoke alarms free of charge. Currently, our staff does install smoke alarms for residents who need them. And that's pretty much just word of mouth. We haven't advertised for that. Myself and Kevin Petner, one of our captains, we've been working with other members of the fire, agencies and organizations within Polk County to update the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. This is a plan that hasn't been updated since 2009. And we're looking at getting bids for consultation to be able to update that plan. What this plan does is it allows us to have access to grants and funding sources. And unless you have any questions, that's all that I have.
I have a question. What would you say are your 3 top priorities?
Mine personally or my organization's?
Your organization and yours personally.
Well, obviously protection of our community, right? The caretaking of our citizens that call 911 and need that. So those would be probably the top 1 and 2, and then care for my staff.
And was that for you personally?
I would say that would be me personally, but I would think that would be probably resonated amongst everybody within our organization. You're welcome. Okay.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, next up is Police Department update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. I guess I should put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Just a few updates on what's going on in the police department in general, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We have union negotiations for this next cycle coming up, probably mid-March, maybe April, but HR is working on that and we'll be moving forward soon. Staffing-wise, we have our recruit officer, Andrew McDonald, started on February 1st. And then we had a lateral we brought over from the sheriff's office, started on February 9th. The recruit obviously has probably 8 months worth of training he's looking at coming down the road. If we're lucky, Marty could be solo 2 to 3 weeks. He's doing well so far, so that's good. Our part-time records position was filled. As you know, you guys met Callista. She started at the end of December and she's doing a fantastic job. She's going to be a very good fit. And she's a local lady here, so hopefully we'll have her around for a long time. So our records section is fully staffed and we'd like to keep it that way. Have one remaining officer vacancy that we're recruiting for, and we'll take that as it comes. We have one officer, one of our recruit officers, Jesse Frito, is finishing up his shadow phase of field training. So hopefully he'll be solo in the very near future, and then we'll be moving on. Right now we're focused a lot on our budget. We're doing some fine tuning on our capital budget, obviously, and then we'll be working on getting our other parts of the budget put together and ready to submit. Let's see, for the time capsule, I don't know if you guys caught it all, but we put a few items in there. I took a copy of every one of our officers' badges, printed out the front of it, so we'll have a little collection of who was here then. Put one of our badges in there, and those water bottles like you have, I made a water bottle specifically for the capsule and put Dallas PD 2024 on it and added that in there, and then an assortment of other pictures and stuff. Fleet-wise, we have our last 23 vehicle we're still waiting to build. We've had it here for some time. The folks that build them are still waiting on a couple of key components before they can build it. They're hoping to have them in by the middle of this month and maybe get it on the road finally end of March. So
Remember the pre-pandemic days when you never worried about supply trains?
it was nothing like this, you know. We usually have them, they have parts over there waiting for them, wanting to know when the car's coming in, but that's just the world we live in now. Another thing that Brian may not even have seen the email on yet, I just this afternoon finally got final notification that we have final approval for our EOC grant. So we'll be able to start moving forward with that project over here in the near future. And other than that, we're contemplating the foundations of maybe put together a cadet program here so we can, with our SRO in the high school doing such a good job and building some relationships over there, if we can get our mitts on some young kids and keep them out of trouble until they
So
become
you
of
and the
age.
fire department are going to be competing for high school recruits.
Well, maybe, but we'll do well.
Just teasing.
No, that's fine. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else to cover, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, before we adjourn, I'm going to open it up for questions for everybody. Does anybody have any questions? Anything for the good of the order? Nothing at all. I am the new public safety chair, so I think it's prudent to at least tell you what my kind of perspective is or my overall goal. Obviously, the number one overall goal is support public safety in whatever they need. But I too have priorities. My priorities first and foremost is the general funding and your general funding for your budget, and make sure that that gets approved and that's adequate for you. My second is a building for the police department and a training building for the fire department. These are goals. I want to set big goals. I don't want to set small goals because I believe those could easily be acquired or be fulfilled. My next goal is training for both the police and the fire department. And lastly, equipment for the police and the fire department. I know that a lot of the equipment or some of the equipment is antiquated, and we need to come up with the times to be a fully efficient public safety. I've already met with the police chief. I'd love to meet with you, Chief Wallace. Maybe we could talk for a couple of hours. I want to ride along with you. I'd love to conceptualize your whole geographical area because I'm one of those guys that I have to see, it's something to look at it on a map, but it's another thing to go out on a ride with you folks so I can see. Okay. All right, thank you. Anything else from anyone else? Meeting is adjourned.
I'm going to take a drink of water and then we'll begin. Call the Building and Grounds Committee to order on May I have unanimous consent to just use the roll call from last meeting? Anybody have any issue with that? Good, okay. So we'll consider that done and we have a quorum. You have the minutes on the back of your agenda from the last meeting. Any changes, updates, or a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second,
Moved and seconded to approve the meetings. Any discussion, the minutes of the last meeting, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Minutes are approved. All right, our next item of business is the update on 147 Southeast Court Street. I assume that is you.
Yeah, that's me. So not a ton to share. We will have an executive session meeting on March 4th on this topic where we'll have more information to share. Some of that information is still being developed. As you're all aware, we did hire an environmental consultant to be able to do a phase 1 environmental assessment that's been completed. I have the full report. I won't share the full report with council because it's several hundred pages. But I'll give you the executive summary so you'll be able to see that. The big picture of that today is that there's no environmental concerns that were found on the site.
So nothing worrisome.
Nothing worrisome, kind of a clean bill of health, if you will, if it was like a doctor's appointment. So that's good news. The other piece of information we're waiting for is kind of a schematic from the architects as well as a cost assessment for, or cost estimate of what it would be to build a police station on that site. As you'll recall, from previous discussion, the concept of being able to build onto the existing building doesn't work because you can't fit an expanded parking lot within the area where the building currently exists. So instead of moving forward with that option, which we know isn't viable for the police department long term, we stopped that, had them just look at the option of tearing down and building a new with parking on the back side of the building and beneath the second floor. And so that's the option that's being looked at. Again, once the architect gives us that, the cost estimate, we'll evaluate all that as a full council on March 4th.
So if that went forward as anticipated, then the new building would come right up to the sidewalk?
Yes, good.
That looks better in the downtown. I like
Right,
that.
and it's a conceptual plan. So this would just be, again, kind of a high level look of if you were to build a 15,000 square foot building on that site, here's what it could look like, and here's roughly how much it would cost.
Yeah, well, you got my attention when you mentioned parking in the back, because that's an improvement to the downtown streetscape.
Right, and I would add to that we're, it's a cost estimate. I told them, I said, be on the high side, so don't be surprised when the estimate comes in high, and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of money. That's to be anticipated. So we want to make sure that whatever we're looking at would be kind of a not to exceed number in concept. So that's kind of the update on that. We have until March 21st to close on the property under our current agreement with the property owner. And so having a conversation on March 4th and deciding either that, yep, we're good with the purchase of the property, or not, will be a discussion that the council will have that night.
All right, any questions about any of that? Okay, next, report on the community campout. I'm guessing that's yours also.
That is also mine. So on the community campout, we have a committee that's been formed. It includes Councilors Fitzgerald, Councilor Collins, myself, and Jennifer Ward are kind of the staff members. We've also are trying to loop in Eric Totten into that conversation just because he's very familiar with the park system, of course. And then also John Schulte is a community member that's involved in the planning. And then there was another community member that we invited that was also there. I can't remember her name. So my apologies if she's watching this recording. But we also included a statement at the end of that meeting to, hey, make sure we invite more people to join this committee. It's a good group of folks. We talked about kind of what we're conceptually thinking would work. We identified a date. We're looking at middle end of June. I won't say the exact date, but it's the second or third, I think it's the third Saturday into Sunday of June would be the camp out date. And so we're just working through we're generating more questions than we are answers at this point. Some of those questions I'm going to look at Lane and have conversations with him from a liability standpoint, as well as our insurer. So we'll work through that. But that's kind of what we're looking at for this year, having it be controlled in terms of the number of campers that we would allow, designated camping spaces, stuff of that nature. We're probably looking at no more than probably 40 campsites within the community camp out area. So
You're gonna
identifying.
do that in the big park?
We would do it in the park. We would do it on the south side of the creek section of the park, the old section. And yeah, so we're identifying lots of things, asking lots of questions. Our next meeting is tomorrow night. So we'll circle back on some of these questions and have answers and probably generate even more questions. But the planning on that is moving forward, and it's a good thing. So that's kind of the update on that, unless you have specific questions.
Any questions? That's everything on the agenda. Anything else we need to talk about before we go our separate ways? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, the only thing I would kind of add to this is kind of a
Forever
unique,
with a small f.
yeah, this is kind of a unique committee that it's always hard to know like exactly what type of items you want discussed in this committee. So if there are things that you think, hey, this should be a good discussion for the Buildings and Grounds Committee, certainly either let me know, let Councilor Shane know, and we'll put them on this committee to be able to discuss. I think these are certainly appropriate topics to discuss, and it's a good thing. So, and that goes also with the Public Safety Committee. So.
Oh, there's a lot of overlap, but particularly with the
building next door,
desire to
right.
update the facilities for public safety. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then the good news is the Public Safety Committee and the Buildings and Grounds Committee now meet at the same time with the same committee members, and so the development of a new police station, the construction of that makes sense to be discussed between these two committees.
Sure, of course. Okay, anything else?